as recorded by Didi Gurupriya Devi in her diary. 20th July, 1957. A gentleman aged 84 who had recently lost his son cried and lamented a great deal over his bereavement. Sitting near Mataji for some time, he became much calmer. In this connection, Mataji related something that had happened many years ago while she was at Tarapith. A woman came to Mataji in deep sorrow. Her eldest daughter had died suddenly, just at that time when all the preparations for her wedding had been completed. The woman brought her younger daughter with her, who was then about 11. When Mataji visited Tarapith again the next year, the woman gave her the sad news that her younger daughter had also passed away. God's will is inscrutable. It so happened that Mataji came to Tarapith once again a year later. This time the same woman was carrying a baby, a month old, in her arms. And when she came from Mataji's darshan, the woman related to Mataji in detail what had happened in the meantime. After her younger daughter had left this world, the bereaved mother was simply heartbroken and could not stop crying. One night she dreamt of her younger girl. She saw her in a most lovely place, together with many other children of her age. They all looked happy and seemed to be engaged in praying to God. A few days later, the child's father dreamt that his younger daughter came to him and told him, full of grief, that she could not remain in her charming abode any longer, since she was unable to bear her mother's deep sorrow for her. She would therefore return to her. In this dream, the 11-year-old girl suddenly changed into a tiny infant, which he placed into his wife's lap. And lo and behold, within a year a baby girl was born to them. This was the child that she had now brought with her to Mataji. Mataji commented on this story as follows. To weep and lament over the loss of a loved person at times interferes with the spiritual progress of the deceased. One comes across other stories of a similar kind. It is man's duty to remain steady and calm under all circumstances, and to pray only for the welfare of the Atma, the soul. I have heard another story from Mataji that may be repeated here. A certain pandit was very friendly with a fakur. One day the pandit smelt a distinct scent of ripe jackfruit, although it was not the season for it. He searched everywhere, trying to locate the source of the fragrance, without any result whatsoever. He felt extremely puzzled and finally went to his friend, the fakur, to solicit his opinion on the strange sensation. The fakur was somewhat advanced on the spiritual path and had acquired some supernormal powers, siddhis. He listened to all that the pandit told him and then sat in silence for a while. Thereupon he asked his friend to accompany him. They walked some distance across the river and again walked until they came to a village. There they found an old Brahmin performing shraddha, a ceremony performed for the dead, and it was for the Brahmin's father. In order to satisfy the soul of the deceased, he had offered ripe jackfruit during the ceremony. His father had been especially fond of jackfruit, and therefore the Brahmin had taken the trouble to procure some of it, although it was out of season in that part of the country. The fakur explained to his friend, "Look, in your last birth you were the father of this Brahmin. When he offered jackfruit to you in the course of the ritual, the scent of the fruit floated to you, although you were far away, sitting in your own house." Whether this story is true or not is difficult to say. Somebody had once related it to Mataji. After narrating the story, Mataji said, "Whatever is offered to a deceased person in the shraddha ceremony reaches him in some manner and gives him satisfaction. Nowadays, one often hears people question whether the Shraddha really benefits the dead and in what way. In actual fact, there are many true stories of a more or less similar type that can establish your faith in the matter. One should not make light of anything. August 1957. Yesterday afternoon, Mrs. Sarbawal with her son and daughter-in-law came to see Mataji. The young couple were about to go to England and had come to seek Mataji's blessing. Before they took leave of her, Mataji gave 2 fruits to the young woman. Mrs. Sarbawal exclaimed with amusement, "Again, these fruits, Mataji." We at first could not understand what was meant by this remark, but later we heard that she was referring to something that happened many years ago, and it was like this. A Kashmiri devotee who was then working in the police department in Uttar Pradesh had come to Kishanpur with his wife for Mataji's darshan on his way down from Mussoorie. On taking leave, Mataji put 3 fruits into his wife's hands. Why 3? Only Mataji knew. They had so far been childless. The surprising thing was that after partaking of those fruits, 3 children were born to them, one after another. They felt convinced that the births of their children were due solely to Mataji's grace. However, they never breathed a word about this to Mataji. Years later, when the gentleman had become a high police official in Lucknow, Mataji once visited that town. The husband and the wife came for Mataji's darshan. When Mataji wanted to present 2 fruits to the lady, she folded her hands, saying, "We don't want any more children." On that occasion, they explained to Mataji why she would not accept the fruits. The other day, the same lady came for Mataji's darshan and referred to the above-mentioned incident while sitting in Mataji's room in Mrs. Sarbawal's presence. Thus, when yesterday Mataji presented 2 fruits to Mrs. Sarbawal's daughter-in-law, she took it to mean that 2 children would be born to her. So many presents does Mataji give constantly to people. The actual fact is that according to their heart's desire, people address prayers to Mataji mentally, and what they see as a result depends on their desires. Now let me refer to another incident that took place some years ago. One day Mataji was leaving Benares for some other place. On her way to the railway station, she stopped the car in front of Dr. Das Gupta's house. The whole family came out to receive her. When the youngest daughter, Radu, bowed to Mataji, she gave her 2 garlands of flowers. Those who witnessed this wondered why Radu had received 2 garlands. A short time later, when Mataji was in Bombay, a letter arrived from Dr. Das Gupta to inform her that he had quite unexpectedly found a suitable bridegroom for Radu, and thus arranged for her marriage. At the time when Mataji had given 2 garlands to Radu, nobody was as yet thinking of her marriage. But Mataji, who is all-knowing, had already given her a garland for herself and another for her future husband. Similar things happen daily with Mataji. How few are the miracles we notice? 13th April, 1962. In the afternoon, Mataji suddenly walked out of the Kankal Ashram compound, crossed the road, and proceeded straight to the Ganges. A large group of ashramites and visitors followed her. Everyone was asked to sit on the steps leading to the Ganges. A ceremony was in progress at the neighboring burning ghat. We saw military and police march in formation, saluting the blazing funeral pyre. One of the leading officers of the Bharat Seva Sangha, who were doing devoted and very efficient service throughout the Kumbh Mela, died of heart failure while on duty. The deceased had probably never even had Mataji's darshan during his lifetime, But Mataji obviously had a divine inspiration, a kaya, to give her blessing while his body was being consumed by the flames. It was a significant and deeply moving incident. Everyone was conscious of the hush that descended on the whole assembly. All traffic has been suspended for the whole day and night to give a chance to the pedestrians who streamed to and from the Ganges in thousands. However, at 9 p.m., some police officers came and offered to take Mataji by car to Brahmakunda. Mataji consented, although she did not descend the steps to the river, but watched the bathing pilgrims from the top. The whole day was certainly unforgettable.